Welcome back to this week's video on area and circumference of a circle. Now I know I promised you guys that I would go through the area of a segment and how to find the arc length. However, those are slightly more complicated, so I've decided to make a video on that for next week. So this week's video is all about area and circumference of a circle. And as you can see on the screen at the moment, there's a circle. And from last week, you might have remembered that there's a center of the circle, which is a black dot in the middle. And there's a blue line, which is a diameter. Remember, it goes through the center point. And then we have the radius. So these are the two main things we need to remember when we're looking at area and circumference. And one quick thing, remember the radius is half the diameter. So we can always use that in our formulae for area and circumference. So the first thing I'm going to go through is the circumference. And here's a circle. And again, we have the center, we have the radius, and we have the diameter. So just a reminder, just to help you guys as I'm explaining this. So what is the circumference? The circumference is just the perimeter of the circle. So the red outline is the circumference. And the formula for the circumference, you can actually have two. So the first one says the circumference is pi times the diameter. Now, what is pi? So pi is a mathematical value, and it's a constant, so you can use it from your calculator. And to get the circumference, you just do pi times whatever the diameter is. So if the diameter is, let's say, for example, 6 centimeters, it would be pi times 6, and your circumference would be 6 pi, which is in terms of pi. So remember, if your question is asking you, leave your answer in terms of pi. It would just be 6 pi. Otherwise, if you change your answer into decimal form, whatever decimal that gives you, give that as the answer to maybe 1 or 2 decimal places, making sure you say and you state that it's to 1 decimal place or to 2 decimal places. So that's one way you can find the circumference. And the other way you can find it is by doing pi, again, times 2 times the radius. Now the reason you can do this is because, remember, as I said right at the beginning, the radius is half the diameter. So you're basically just still multiplying it by the diameter, but let's say, for example, you're only given the radius, you can use this second formula. So for short, the first equation is C equals pi d, and the second one is C equals 2 pi r. So these are really key formulae that you need to know for the circumference. And just remember, it's just the perimeter of the circle, so just the red outline that I've got on the screen here. Now the next thing we want to look at is the area of the circle. So the pink part, all the pink lines are inside the circle. So what is the area? The area of the circle is just the total shaded region inside the circle. So everything in the circle, there's no kind of splits, or there's nothing that you don't look at. You look at the whole shaded area inside the circle. And the formula for the area is pi times the radius squared. So it's just pi r squared. Again, the pi is a constant. You can use it from your calculator. If it doesn't give you, or if you want to, you can always use 3.14 as the value of pi. But it's just more accurate if you use pi from the Gill calculator. And the radius is whatever you're given. So for example, if the radius is 3 centimeters, you do 3 squared, which is 9, and you multiply it by pi. So the area would be 9 pi centimeter squared as your answer, or just 9 pi, depending on the question. So yeah, that is the formula for the area of a circle. Now, as I said last week, this week my book Outliers is free to download. So the ebook version is free. You can download it and read it so it started from yesterday at midnight, and You are able to download it for free till this Friday midnight. So you guys go out there on Amazon, have a read of it, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. That would be very much appreciated. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video, and definitely don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys next week.